Origins of Language and the Limits of Knowledge. Tuesday, July 9, 2024. Plato, the founder of formal grammar, was the only grammarian in human history to base grammar on the definition of a thing. Aristotle credited this distinction, not to Plato, but to Socrates' influence on him. Plato simply put Socrates on steroids by way of metaphor. It is the definition of a thing by which one can learn exactly what we can name, not in the particular, but in the universal. We can name, as Plato noted, only the two elements of a thing, its relative difference, called a verb, and the limits of that relative, called a noun. In other words, the meaning is its material difference, even called behavior as a verb, and the passing limits on that material difference, called its shape and form, etc., is called a noun. This fact has been verified, unequivocally by the computer, which can process all information in order to produce countless behaviors using what Plato called dialectic, speech in accordance with the two parts of a thing, which we call in this computer age, binary recursion. Thus, the definition of a thing recognizes that all of information is a passing process of material differences. This process can be called random, but under the management of intelligence, it is far from random. If we now take this as demonstrated fact, we can apply it to our knowledge of evolution, and instead of saying that survival is of the most fit, we can now say what being fit means, in terms of the fact that everything is a binary expression. We can now say, evolution is commensurate with the mastery of a life form over binary recursion. Thus, we begin to see that all forms of life survive commensurate with their level of what we call today, literacy. In short, the animate is literate while the inanimate is not, or in other terms, the inanimate is based on arithmetic recursion, while life is based on geometric recursion. Inanimate physical objects behave as such. For every action there is an opposite and equal reaction, but life forms, for every action there is a proportional reaction. In short, life forms pass information to their advantage. As everything is defined as a binary, we can now say language is universal and intelligible, while grammar is particular and perceptible. And we stop imagining something totally ludicrous, that language skills is uniquely human. Like every other form of life, our grammatical skill is commensurate with our place in evolution, expressed by our particular level of intelligence. We can also say that immortality is the ability to effect perfect binary recursion in body, mind and soul. If we now consider that nobody speaks language, in fact, claiming that we speak languages is rather an affectation, as the definition of thing is universally applied to everything, in short, that there is one voice over all of creation unintelligible binary, we can correct our colloquial speech not by claiming that there is an English language, a German language, a French language, etc., but English common grammar, German common grammar, French common grammar, etc. When we do this, we can concentrate on the fact that all systems of grammar are composed of two parts. An absolute system of symbols, written, spoken, or both, and a method of recursively applying those symbols to effect the grammar, spoken, written, or both. When we are truly capable of multiplying the two elements of a thing with the two elements of grammar, we find that we have four, and only four, categories of grammar which can be called a grammar matrix. These four have traditional names: common grammar, arithmetic, algebra and geometry. Of our four categories of grammar, only one of them is accomplished by establishing a one-to-one correspondence between the elements of a thing, and the mechanics of the grammar making it completely metaphorical and universal. That grammar is called geometry. Geometry is particularized using the remaining three logical grammars, geometry being analogical. Thus we particularize geometry in common grammar, arithmetic, and algebra. Therefore, as language is intelligible, it takes intelligence to evolve grammar systems. This allows us to say, psychology is commensurate with the principles of language functionally resident in the mind as a grammar matrix. Thus, it has always been a lie to claim that language, or grammar, inhibits us to express anything, when the fact of the matter is, our only limit, as easily proven, is our own intelligence. When one recognizes binary as the foundation of the universe, it then becomes evident that there never has been any need for convoluted theories about anything. After all, we have two, and only two, concepts to master by the very definition of a thing. It is also clear that no amount of education is going to make anyone the least bit smarter than what they are. Education can only give one the ability to take advantage of their own innate intelligence. Grammar systems are not magic, they're there for you to show the world what you can do, which has nothing to do with the ridiculous stories the so-called intelligentsia tell. Not one of them, to date, has ever even figured out the simplicity of grammar systems. We can conclude by saying that one of the earmarks of intelligence is how a person uses arithmetic and geometric reasoning. The stupider one is, the more arithmetic in their reasoning they are, and the depth of metaphorical comprehension they have, the more intelligent they are. A stupid person does not even realize when they are using metaphor incorrectly. We have two, and only two, concepts to master. Therefore, when one cannot show the result of anything step by step as binary recursion, but start by telling convoluted stories, using undefined terms, etc., one is only witnessing a mind that is psychologically unsound. To date then, the majority of published works are simply examples of minds that have fallen short of any soundness in their authors. As a mind is potentially the most powerful life support systems possible, one can gauge the illiteracy of mankind just by our accumulative effect on our own environment. A functional life support system does not tolerate suicide. It takes a moron to commit, in earnest, an oxymoron.
False words are not only evil in themselves, but they infect the mind with evil. Phaedo by Plato,